So this is Colonel Ruff's new gadget that he just got, and it looks pretty darn cool, but it's so bad. I mean, you got 9 rockets coming down here, each doing 700 damage, so theoretically, a potential of 6,300 damage, but in most cases, your opponent can just completely dodge the entire thing. Now, at the very least, you would think it would be good in something like Heist or Siege, because it's a stationary target, but it's not. It's still very bad. Only hits 3 out of the 9 rockets, giving you 2,100 damage, which basically every other brawler in the game can do to the turret as well. Now, I spent a bit of time looking into how this gadget actually works, since it is a consistent pattern every single time, and I figured out a way that you can dodge all of the rockets 100% of the time without taking any damage, all while standing on top of the area of the gadget. You don't even need to completely avoid the gadget, you just have to juke the heck out of it, and it's perfectly possible to do. And along the way, I can throw in some tips on how you can actually use this gadget to get a little bit of value here and there. But of course, mainly, I'll be teaching you how to make this already bad gadget even worse by figuring out how to juke it when your opponents are running it. So I put together a diagram that's color-coded. Of course it's color-coded, you know I always got you with those color-coded diagrams. But it shows the order of the rockets as they fall from a top-down view. So you can see the positioning of them. This pattern stays the same every single time, except half of the time it will be flipped by 180 degrees, depending on what side of the field you're on. Now you'll notice that most of the rockets are spread pretty evenly around the center, but there are 3 rockets that sort of overlap with the center. And if you actually look at where the Heist Safe hitbox overlaps with this diagram, it overlaps with those 3 centered rockets, and that's why we saw 3 rockets hit it earlier. And the funny thing about this is almost all of the rockets on the outer ring of this diagram are so close to overlapping with the hitbox of the Heist Safe, but Supercell designed it perfectly so that none of them hit it except for those 3 rockets in the center. They just made this gadget even worse. But if you want to dodge the gadget while basically standing on top of it, obviously you can't stand in the center because there are a ton of rockets that fall down there. You're basically guaranteed to get hit by one if you stand there, so don't stand in the center. But I think you pretty much already knew that. So where you do want to stand is a place where a rocket isn't going to fall at all for the rest of the duration of the gadget, or it's not going to fall for a long time. So the best place to do this is up at the top of the gadget area where the 2nd and 8th rockets are about to fall. That's because 2 and 8 are pretty far apart, so you'll have a lot of time to work with in between those 2 rockets falling. And of course, their positions are right next to each other, so it's easy to get from one of those spots to the other. So literally all you need to do is first move to where the 8th rocket is about to fall, and then once you see the 2nd rocket fall, you actually want to move over to where the 2nd rocket landed, because once it landed, obviously no other rockets are going to fall down there for the rest of the time. You just have to make sure you get there after the 2nd rocket falls, but before the 8th rocket falls, and there's a lot of time in there. So even if you're juking other people's shots, as long as you generally maintain your position, first going to the 8th rocket and then going to the 2nd rocket's landing area, you should be good to go. Watch this, I'm not going to actually take any damage because this is the training cave, but first we go to where the 8th rocket's going to land, we see that 2nd rocket landing, we move over to where it is, and we're not getting hit by any of the rockets, and we stay relatively close to the center of the gadget, and that's all you got to do. So you can at least get a decent amount of value out of the gadget if you use it in the right spots, but even if the area is pretty closed off, you can usually make it to the 8th and the 2nd rocket positions because all that's really being blocked off is the center area, which is only 3 tiles wide. So initially you would think, hey, this gadget's 8 to 9 tiles wide, it should probably deny about an 8 tile diameter of area, which isn't that bad. It's better than a lot of other area denial supers we have, but it really only denies that middle 3 tiles, which is extremely small and very much useless. But it's just so funny when you can stand on top of this gadget for its entire duration and take no damage whatsoever if you're playing it right. I think that's just so funny. So hopefully you too can punish bad Colonel Ruff's players out there by making them waste their gadgets on you. And if you ever decide to use this gadget, maybe in Power League, everyone on your opponent's team is running brawlers with piercing attacks, so your first gadget's not going to do you any good. Hopefully at least a couple situations when you can get some value out of this one. But wow, it really needs a rework.